Good afternoon, everyone. Or might want to say cheerio, mate. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brendan with the 302 Birds podcast. Normally, Eric and myself will be doing the post-game shows, but we have something special for you guys today. With the London series coming up, we have a special guest. We'll get to that in a second, but I also want to introduce my co-host, Eric. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
All right, good. And our special guest is Dave Shaw from UK Phillies. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, guys. I'm good. Raring to go.
My man. You know, a little late night over there for you, huh?
10 o'clock it's a bank holiday weekend. It's early. This is early considering Phil's games usually start at midnight. So we're good. We're all good.
Okay, that's fair. So for anybody that doesn't know, this is Dave Shaw with UK Phillies. You can catch him on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, the whole nine, Facebook. Make sure you give him a follow. Love his stuff. Great stuff all around. Great conversations. Our number one fan across the pond, in all honesty, I guess, right?
There's a lot of us over here.
Okay.
I'm just I think I'm leading the flag, leading the charge. But there's a lot of hardy fans like me up at all hours of the night over here in the UK and Europe who are just as hardy and as passionate as you guys over there.
Okay. Well, they got a rude awakening for when this team comes over there then, huh?
Oh, big time. Big time. And I think a lot of American fans, Philly fans who are coming over are going to find out that Philly fans over here in the UK and Europe, we all share the same thing, and that's the passion, the energy, and the party. We can all party as hard as you guys. We're all the energy. The energy is going to be for unreal. Every time I talk about it, I'm just thinking how wild it's going to be. Well, the weekend of the London series, but it's going to be the best time.
Yeah, man, love it. Love to hear it. So let's jump into everything. Let me get you to introduce yourself, get to talk a little about UK Phillies, how you became a Phillies fan, what got you into it. Let's hear it, brother.
Yeah, so UK Phillies. The account started in 2017 after. Well, they were bleak years. Let's put it that way. And I just realized that I cannot be the only Phillies fan in the UK and Europe going through this. So I set up the accounts to try and reach out to other Philly fans and bemoan the recent seasons and the current 2017 season at the time and just vent, and just talk Phillies. And from what it's grown from there, it's just been unbelievable. I started following in 2012. Again, the start of the down years, as it were, but
you missed it.
I know, and everybody tells me, man, you were so close. You were so close. But getting to know baseball through those years, it didn't hit me as hard because I was still picking things up. I was still fresh as it was to the sport and to the Phillies, and still like, oh, it'll turn around, guys. It'll be fine. And yeah. By the time 2020 rolled around, it was wearing me down, the lack of playoffs. But I was backpacking in America at the time, doing a big 6-month travel around America, and Philly was my last port of call. Loved the city as soon as I got there. It was less touristy than the place I've been to, like a real working class city, which is like from where I'm from. So it felt quite homely, and just straight away the sport. The passion they have for their sport and Philly sports was just unbelievable. That again drew me in, and being a big sports fan myself, got invited to go to a game. First time going to Citizens Bank Park was unreal. Nothing like that back here at home whatsoever. The tailgating, the having all the sports arenas in one complex, Xfinity Live. Yeah, I was hooked before I even walked through the gates of CBP. And then walking through the gates of CBP, the smell of the yard, the food, the energy in there. And it was Chase Utley's first game back of the season off injury against the Pirates. First at bat, everyone goes crazy as he comes to the plate. He hits a home run at his first at bat. The place goes wild. It's bouncing, and I'm all in. And it was a crazy game. The Phillies lost, and it was a sign of things to come for the next few years. But I went home, did all my history on the Phillies, and just went back every year since. Just completely fell in love, and now it's a huge part of my life.
Okay, love to hear it. That's a hell of a story. You came in at I will say, probably the worst time that you could possibly come in to be a Phillies fan.
It was, yeah. Looking back now, it was, yeah. You know, at the time in 2012, people were still relatively optimistic that, you know, Chase is going to turn the season around, but you know, Chooch, Howard, Rollins, they all regressed pretty quickly, and we had no backup for it. You know, Don Brown was meant to be the, you know, the poster boy. He was the all-star. He was going to come in and turn it all around, and it just, like a lot of things back then, just didn't go into anything, did it? It just the flame flickered out quite quickly.
Right. Now, I know you're talking about when you being from over there. Like, what is your soccer team? Because I know you're talking about, you caught a tailgate for like a first time sort of thing. No tailgates over there?
No tailgating. So my soccer team, my footy team over here is Brighton Hove Albion. Very from rags to riches sort of story for them. You know, nearly went out of business, nearly went out of the Football League just 25 years ago, and now playing in the top flight of English football and in Europe for the first time this year. So it's very similar, you know, some real rough times following them throughout my life as well. So I was ready for this Phil's downfall. You know, it was being a Brighton fan and seeing some real rough years there before they got to the top. It you know, prepared me nicely for what the Phils were going to put me through for 10, 11 years, like us all. But there's no tailgating as such. Now, a typical soccer day would be you go to the pub. If you're going to a game, you go to the pub, meet your friends, have a few pints, 3 or 4 before kickoff, get some food, head to the game, and then you can't really do much at the games. You can't walk around the stadium like you can at a baseball park.
Okay.
You're in your section. That's it, pretty much. And you'll watch the game and then just go straight home. But whereas baseball is more of a complete day out. You know, the tailgating starts early,
right,
and everyone gets involved. It's very different, and I love the American sports culture completely. You know, and the way they do it, and the way it's more family inclusive, and the way it's just a complete variety of women, kids of all ages. And I think football over here can learn quite a bit from, in general, the American sports culture.
Okay, love it. Yeah, and to some people over here, this is the most boring sport in the country. So I love to hear somebody from across the pond saying something positive like that, right? Now, are you just a Phillies fan, or do you follow the Eagles, the Flyers, the Sixers, anything like that?
Oh, a lot. You know, the Phillies take a lot of my. They take a lot of my time for 6-7 months of the year. You know, it's a big part of my life. So once the Philly season's done, I kick back, follow my soccer team closely, but then I'll watch the Eagles games, the Flyers, the Sixers when they're on a UK friendly time, the Union as well. Not as intensely as the Phillies, but I'm always rooting for Philly sports. You know, Philly is. And it really is like a second home for me now. You know, I'm there. The last 18 months, I've been over 7-8 times now. With the Phils getting hot, finally, it's been too good to turn down and not be out there to feel the postseason, to feel the energy. And if the Phils weren't coming here this in 2 weeks, I'd be on a plane back out there already, because the energy looks insane at Citizens Bank Park right now.
Yeah, I will say, for a Tuesday, Wednesday night in the middle of May, there's a bunch of people out there, so it's a hell of a time.
You can feel it, like you can feel it from the TV. Like, it's just every out. You know, when Rangers pitching, especially, you know, every out he records, there's a big noise. Where every time you got 2 strikes on an opposing batter, the noise is just ramped up. It just feels. You get the feel of Red October already. You know, every big home run, every big play. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You know, it's just, you could just feel there's something special happening. And you look at Dodgers games, that place was half full the other night, you know, and you look at Citizens Bank Park, it's not only full, it's the energy is just unreal, you know, and you just get that feeling something special is happening.
Yeah, man.
I agree with you. I mean, I definitely agree with you. I think, honestly, the energy right now is amazing. And I think that it just feels like an October game every time you go. Like, I've been to 4 games so far this season, and I plan on going to more this summer when I have more downtime. But I mean, like, I'm so excited just to get in there and feel the energy, because there's no other place like it. I mean, I go to Eagles games, but like, even Eagles games, I don't think the energy is matched with Phillies.
I had a friend who went for the first time this season, and they messaged me like as soon as they got in there, going, "Dave, there's a vibe in here that I haven't felt since 2011. You know, there's something going on here. You know." And the game hadn't started. That was just them walking on the ballpark for the first time this year, and I'm sit there thinking like at 1:05 in the morning, like I'm ready to splurge a lot of money to go back out to Philly and experience this as well. You know, let's say if the Phils weren't coming here in 2 weeks, I'd be out there right now.
Nice. All right, Eric, what you got?
So, Dave, let me ask you this, just because I'm curious. How was the interview with Chase Utley? How did they approach you with that? Like, how did that come to be, and how did you feel being able to kind of talk with Chase and have that one-on-one in the back of a freaking taxi cab? That was cool.
No. I use this word a lot, but it was surreal. Like MLB emailed me saying, "Can we have a call with you in an hour?" Like it was all very, very sudden. I was at work. I was like, "Oh, sure, okay." They rang me up saying, "Look, Dave, make yourself free next Wednesday. You need to come to London. We're going to have you in the back of a cab interviewing a former Philly player about London series." And straight away I'm thinking, this has to be Chase. There's nowhere else it can be. And if it's Jimmy Rollins or anything like that, then great. You know, it's all good. But I was like, is it Chase? It's like, we can't confirm anything yet. I was like, is it Chase? It's like, I know he's in London, guys. It has to be Chase, right? It's like, we can't confirm. I knew it was Chase. I went off that phone call straight to work, told him that I need next Wednesday off, guys. It's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. And they were very understanding. They were very good. And then, a few days later, they confirmed it was Chase. The excitement was just unreal. And even on the day of going up to London, set off early, had his notes upon pages and pages of notes that went to pot as soon as I got in the taxi. It was like, oh, I didn't even go off them in the end, but he was amazing. Like the most incredible, relaxing guy, very laid back, very open, an absolute potty mouth off the cameras that I couldn't believe, which was just, again, it normalizes everything very quickly. My heart was racing when that taxi pulled up, knowing he was in the back. I'm not going to lie. I don't really often get that nervous about this sort of stuff, but when that cab pulled up, I was like, damn, this is happening. You know, this is actually happening. But he's called the man for the reason, and he really was. And having that time, and it was 3-4 hours. You know, it was only for like 1 minute worth of content for them, but to have shown around London, the attractions, and just, you know, it was like being on a movie set. You know, they had to keep redoing cuts. You know, they had 2 directors in the back of the cab filming us as we were doing it, wanted to do different takes, different shots. And he was just amazing, you know, and there was some people who stopped as we were at different attractions, Americans who recognized him, going, "Oh my God, it's Chase Utley." And he was just there going, "Hey, guy," you know, just the rock star that he is, you know, taking it all in, composed. And later that evening, we had a big MLB set up a big pub quiz with Mookie Wilson from the Mets and some of their fans, and then some MLB personalities as well. And that was an unbelievable night as well. And he was incredible, like the best ambassador that we could ever have working here for the MLB in Europe and London. And when he goes back to Philly, which I have no doubt he will, and I asked him the question, which didn't make the cut, but he did say that as soon as they give him the call, he'll be back. And I think after this London series, I think he'll be going back pretty quickly.
So then let me ask you this as well. You know, you've mentioned a couple of former great Phillies players. So who is your overall favorite all-time Phillies player, both all-time and current?
Ultimately, I have to Chase, because that home run, you know, being there for the first time, not having a clue what was going on, and him stepping to the plate for the first time in that season as well, and just the energy instantly around the park at the time. I remember it because you stood back going, everyone's standing up, everyone's got Utley on the back of their jerseys as well. So I'm going, oh, this guy is a big deal, right? You know, I didn't want to say it too loud and, you know, make a complete idiot out of myself, but I could tell that, something big was about to happen. And then when he home run, and the place went crazy, it was very fitting to then be sat in the back of a taxi with him 12 years later, talking about the London series. So for all time, it will always be
full circle.
That's how it felt. Yeah. And then I told him the story as well. And he was so good about it and signed a few things for me as well. Now it's so hard to pick. Like it'll have to be Alec Bohm, because it was Reese. I have to say it was Reese, and out of the Phillies, it'll still be Reese. But Alec's story, I think, in general, is such a good story. From the I hate this place, from such a low mental point that he went to, even personally for him. I think it's such a good story the way he's bounced back from that. That's a low point in anybody, and you could see he was mentally done. Those innings, and he was having a bad year as it was leading to that point. To how he's bounced back from that and to where he is now is just a true test of character. Personally, on a personal level with him, not just sporting. And I think it's quite an inspirational story as well. And I love the guy. And the year he's having, I'm so happy the year he's having. He's unbelievable. He's a clutch machine. Couldn't be happy for the guy. They've even put him in a position that he hardly played before he played there. And now he's a fantastic glove at third base. He's a clutch machine. His confidence is sky high. And him and the daycare kids. What a story in general. But Bohm, I love them all. Everyone that steps out there for the Phillies, because this team is just so much fun and it's so relatable to everybody. They seem to be so in with not just the team, but the fans, the city. Just what a contrast when we had Carlos Santana ripping TVs off the wall and the locker room being in a complete mess. 4 or 5 years ago to now this team we have here. And I think Dave Dombrowski has done an incredible job because he recruits players that buy into everything. Like Kyle Schwarber bought into everything as soon as he came. Bryce Harper, obviously JT, the pitching side of things, everyone he brings in, even now with Whit Merrifield, Sosa, the bench guys, all of them, they're all in on the city, the fan base, and it's biased, obviously, because we're all Philly fans. But I look around and I try hard, and there's just nowhere else like it. There's nowhere else like it where the fans and the players are just. It feels like a family. The players seem to love the interaction with the fans. They want to get the fans involved, and you just feel this magic with the Phils right now that just doesn't seem to be anywhere else in baseball. This link that we all have, and it's so unique. So it's hard to pick a favorite. Alec Bohm would be the favorite, but I just love this team in general. Anyone who walks out there in the pinstripes right now is I'm fully backing.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. We've said it before on our show that I don't get that vibe from any other team right now, other than the Phillies. And I'm glad you brought up Alec Bohm because that was, one of my other questions before I pass it back off to Brendan. So I've followed you for a couple of years, believe it or not, and I'm glad that we're finally getting the chance to talk.
Thank you.
My question to you, I guess, is the Alec Bohm chant. Obviously, that's kind of a more so English thing because of soccer. How did that come to be? And do you think you'll be able to get that chant going throughout the stadium when they do play?
It came out about after a few beers. It originally happened a week after the I Hate This Place, where he had already started to bounce back. And I'd got back from the pub after a few beers, and Bohm hit a home run. And in fact, I just come back from the football, watching the football, and I'd been to the pub after and come home. So I was already, got the chance in my head already. I think Brighton must have won. And he hit that home run. I was like, because his story, that already was fantastic for Alec. And I just went, sod it. I'm going to get the camera and do, it'd be fun to do a football chant, a soccer chant for Alec Bohm. And then it just caught on like wildfire. Like people loved it. And the next morning, I didn't remember doing it. And I woke up next morning going, what? Oh yeah, I think I did that. And just the way it's caught on from there, it's like people then like every time Bohm does something, like straight on Twitter, wanting to see the Bohm song. It's for real. And NBC. I've had a few Zoom calls with NBC ready for when they come and do some things with them when they come to London. And they said they've got some fun London questions for when the players come over here, and they're going to show Bohm the Bohm chant and then see what he makes of it all, which is pretty cool. I don't know what he'll make of it, but they've told me that Ricky Bowe sings it in the studio and
very nice,
catches around everywhere, which is just it's fun. I am wary of overdoing it. I don't want to like it get annoying. But when I'm at Citizens Bank, like April, when I was there at CBP this year, everyone was like, people recognized me and singing the Bohm chant behind me, and it's just just some fun that I bring to it, and it's just caught on to this. It's like everyone says to me, "Oh, every time Bohm does something, I've got the chant in my head." I'm like, "That's so cool!" It's awesome.
Yeah, man. Do you think you could do a little something quick for everybody listening right now?
Yeah, Alec Bohm, Alec Bohm, Alec Bohm.
Oh man, love it.
Always.
Absolutely love it. All right, brother. Now I've already screwed up once, and I've called football soccer once already, so I apologize for that. I know.
Honestly, I'm not a fan. I am not one of those guys who are strictly it's football. It's not soccer. Honestly, I'm easy with it.
All right. Well, I apologize to everybody else beforehand, right? I know baseball isn't the biggest thing over there. I know it's either soccer or football. I know that, right? But with this going on, this has been going on since like 2019. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. With you had the Yankees Red Sox, one of the oldest historical rivalries in all of baseball. Then you had the Cardinals Cubs, another big rivalry. Now you got the Mets and the Phillies. What is like that atmosphere? Are people eager for this? Are they looking forward to it? Like, what does it look like?
Yeah, like the Yankees Red Sox to kick it all off was huge. And COVID hitting just afterwards just knocked so much momentum out of the baseball here in general, because after that series, baseball's on a real high here in London. You could feel it. They're trying to follow the NFL structure of which has been so successful here, bringing the games over. Now there's 3-4 games here. The Jaguars play here twice a year. NFL is massive in this country now, and baseball want to do the same. And after the Yankees Red Sox, it was huge. COVID hit. The next few years was just nothingness, and we lost all the momentum. So the Cubs Cards coming back next year was good. But it felt like, hey, it's back. All right. Remember baseball? And it was good. It was a great day out. It was a good 2 games, but this feels like, right, it's business time. This is what it's all about. This rivalry, of course, is one of the biggest. There is genuine excitement. The last year the tickets didn't sell too well. This year they're expecting over 64,000 at both games. The resale is still ridiculous right now, whereas last year you could get tickets very, very cheap for like $10. At the moment they're still going for over the face value. There's a real hype, and I think the Phils coming over was the best move, because we know Phils fans travel well. New York obviously travel well. This is 2 East Coast teams who are going to bring thousands of fans in, and there's a real buzz. Like as soon as it was announced, like the Phils being hot right now is obviously really helping. It's got interest over here. The back of last year, Team GB having a great World Baseball Classic has also really helped things. I got a lot of national media limelight, which has really pushed it. And to be fair, MLB Europe have done a great job in really getting baseball on the map here. The domestic game's really growing. They're building new facilities all the time. Games are now shown on okay, it's still sort of pay-per-view subscription TV, but it's a lot more easily accessible. National media coverage it a lot more. And having 2 of these big rivals coming in, the Phillies are real hot right now. It's really generating a lot of interest, and people are excited for it. A lot of people, not just Philly fans, but I'm seeing on Twitter and social media all the time, baseball fans, tagging me in posts, and Blue Jays fans saying, can't wait for London series, can't wait to see this Phil's team in general. And also, everyone knows this series is wild. Like Mets and Phillies is always, you can never call it. And something crazy happens every time. It's one of those series which is like, sometimes it's just dumb. There's just dumb games that don't make sense, but it's part of the fun of this rivalry. And as it gets nearer and the better we are and the worse they get, it makes me more nervous because I want to sweep it so bad. I want to sweep and I want to destroy them. I really want to because if the Phils come to London and lose and then sort of go a bit rugged afterwards, people are going to blame us. It's going to be, they went to London, they lost their mojo in London, they've never been the same again. And the backlash I'm fearing from that. So I need the Phils to come here and do the business as well. But we've got so many events planned. We're lucky to have Passyunk Avenue. We've got stuff going from the Wednesday beforehand all the way to the Monday after. And it's just going to be a massive party. And the best way I can describe it is it's a festival. It's a complete festival of baseball. And the ultimate goal for MLB Europe, and I suppose for ourselves as well, is to grow the sport here. Every British fan, European fan, we want to grow the sport here. I want to get more new Phils fans on board. I want to grow the fan base here to be huge. And it really is getting along that way. Again, it helps the Phils are hot and the Phils have been on a good couple of years. But, this series is going to leave a legacy, having so many players ex-former players coming over, Chase being here, gonna hopefully 2 good games because there's going to be a lot of new fans at the stadium as well. That's the idea, the idea is to grow the game, and there's so much going on in between innings at these games, so much happening outside the stadium at these games. It's very the full American, sports and baseball culture is coming over, with a bit of a British twist as well. The weather is the one thing that I'm worried about. I just need to be dry. And I said to you guys beforehand, I think there's a reason why the Phillies have played so many games in some terrible conditions this year. Just prepping them just in case it is going to be wet here. But with last 2 London series we've had here, it's been scorching weather and it's looking promising so far.
All right, cool, man. I know you talked about London Stadium, right? That's where everything's going on?
Yeah. London Stadium, which is during the regular year, is home to West Ham United in the Premier League. And then when this football season's done, it's then converted to what we for the baseball. Then they've got the Foo Fighters playing there this year. They've got big athletic stuff because it was the old Olympic Stadium back in 2012. Converted. So during the summer when there's no football there, it's used for all sorts. So it's a real multi-purpose stadium. All
right. And then you said, I think it's like 60,000 seats over there?
So it's for West Ham, it's 60. They can have up to 66 for the baseball. And they think the Saturday could be close to a sellout, the full 66. Sunday, they're looking like probably 62, 63,000. Yeah.
Okay. Now, before I pass it back over to Eric, now what do you think? 50-50 New York Phillies fans or more Philly fans? Do they have somebody like you being like UK Mets?
In terms of the split, I would have said a good 50-50 a few weeks ago, but the amount of people I've seen on social media who have just bought last-minute tickets and flying over is insane. Like the Phils are making people do some crazy things right now because every day I'm seeing people reaching out and saying, we've just bought last-minute flight tickets. We're coming over. Can't wait. I'm like, wow, there is thousands coming over. The lot with Philly sports trips and the fans of Phillies. And I know the 7 Line Army are coming over their side. But I think I think it's going to be more Phillies. It could be a 60-40 swing. And the noise is going to come from our end. We're going to be the most noisiest. The passion, like I said, it's the same. The energy is the same. There are some UK Mets fans and groups, and they're great people. It's kind of hard to root against them because they're again, their passion for the Mets is the same as me for the Phils. It's slightly different here because again, we all have the same cause, and that's to sort of grow the sport as well in this country. So we do kind of come together and promote the sport the best we can and try and build it. But there's plenty of banter going back and forth, and like I said, I just want to sweep them and sweep them good.
Yeah, man. All right, and I'm gonna pass it back over to Eric.
Yeah, so I didn't get to ask before, beforehand, but Do you think, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, with baseball becoming more and more popular there, and you even touched on the whole NFL and how they handle things over there. Do you think that the MLB is going to get to a point where they start developing these overseas teams? And if they do, would you switch from Phillies to this team?
I could never switch. I am too embedded into the Phillies and Philadelphia itself. It depends how so they've got a contract for this year. It was supposed to be in Paris next year, but Paris have pulled out. So London may cover it again. And then 2027 and 8, so they've got games for as well. And then I think they'll take a step back and see sort of where it's going to go from then on. But they got plenty of pull over here. That they'll probably bring the Blue Jays over at some point. They've got a massive fan base over here, but there's a lot of expats over here. The Yankees will always bring in a crowd. The idea the idea would be, I think the long-term goal would be that, and especially the World Baseball Classic really helps, which what the NFL doesn't have is the international games. And that really does help grow a fan base, when people can also root for your country, your country on these big stages, and the Olympics will also help. And having Britain already automatically into the next World Baseball Classic, which really got people invested. We're all of our accounts, from all the teams over here in Europe we're tweeting about and putting out there on social media and the national media how good that was. And that was a really big step forward for baseball over here in the UK and Europe. And I think they would like to start building big European teams. I think that's a long, long way off. Say the NFL model is going great. If they can just replicate what the NFL have done, which they are doing pretty well, I think you're going to start to see possibly even 2 games over here in Europe. I know they're obviously going to Seoul and South America and the part of the world tour. But I think their aim is to bring it, especially over here to London and to Europe, a lot more. So I wouldn't be surprised if this really takes off, we're going to start to see possibly 2 games here a year, which I think is their aim.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I mean, personally, I would like to see more overseas games. I think, like I said, I followed you for a couple of years. I've seen your excitement. I've seen how excited you are to finally see the Phillies on your home turf.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's obviously amazing. So that kind of leads me into my next question for you. Brendan and I have kind of been, slowly putting together like do's and don'ts for our fans that go over the pond to London. But we've kind of been doing some research, and since the London series was announced, one of the coolest things we found, and I might butcher this, but is it the Passyunk Avenue bar? It has like a batting cage. Okay, it has like a batting cage inside. Have you ever been there?
Yeah, so the Passyunk Avenue is going to be the place to be for Philly fans coming over in London. The owner, JP Tetty, he's from South Philly, grew up in South Jersey, lived in South Philly before he came over to the UK to work, and started selling cheesesteaks out of back of a food van. And then just since then, and the last 5 years, he bought some property in Fitzrovia in London, made it into Passyunk Avenue, started selling cheesesteaks and wings, and just make it into a Philly sort of dive bar, all decked out in Philly sports, like every Philly sports, colleges, university sports, showing the Phillies games, showing Flyers, Sixers, Villanova, every Eagles, everything you can think of. And it just grew and grew. And now they've got 3 Passyunks, all of which are going to be used for big events over the weekend. The biggest one being in Waterloo, which will be sort of the central hub for the Philly fans. There's some massive events coming up there. Some WIP are coming to do their morning shows over there. NBC guys are coming down. Tom McCarthy, Chase will be there at some point. The Fanatic will make an appearance over the weekend. We've got a lot going on. And the Passyunk Avenue at Waterloo is not only one of the Philly home for Philly fans, but also now one of the biggest sports bars in London. It shows for American sports anyway, shows every American sport going. They are packed out nearly every night with some sort of American sport going on. Eagles meetups there are wild. Philly meetups. College football that's now the home of college football to watch. What they've done there is just incredible, and they have got an interactive batting cage. Yeah, they've got one at Waterloo. The plan is to knock through into next doors and build some more batting cages and sort of extend the property and build another bar next door. And they got some big plans, but Passyunk Avenue is going to be off the chains for the London series.
So then, is that the place to go for tailgating? Because I mean, obviously for Phillies fans, tailgating is a huge thing here.
Yeah. So if I give you a rundown, like on the first, on the Wednesday, we've got to sort of meet up with the Phils playing the Brewers at 9:00. It's the last game before they come to London, so we're sort of having a handover meetup, if you like. When they finish here, it's handing over to us. Then the Thursday and Friday, Passyunk Avenue are doing open top tour buses around London, and then booze cruises in the night. Friday and Saturday, they're then shutting down the whole street where they are and turning it into Reading Terminal London. So they're having a lot of sport food vendors, their own beer vendors, tailgating games, beer pong, flip cup, cornhole, big screens up, DJs. It's going to be 2 days of that, Friday, Saturday. They got big screens up showing the games as well for people who haven't got tickets. Sunday at the original site, 2018, when the Eagles came over, they had a massive tailgate party on the street for that. Well, they're doing that again on the Sunday, so they're closing the whole road. They've got permission to, again, it's pretty much what Waterloo's going to have: food vendors, beer vendors, tailgating games, the screens showing the game, DJs, drink offers. And then the Monday at the newest site at Battersea, it's called the Wheels Up Pastime Festival. So they've got some American folk rock bands playing, country music playing, some live music, wiffle ball tournament. And again, WIP will be broadcasting there in the morning for their morning show. So yeah, for the whole weekend, the Passyunks have got so much going on.
Nice. I mean, that definitely sounds kind of like the vibes here. I mean, like I said, I mean, us Phillies fans, we love to tailgate, love to get pre-gamed in the parking lot before the game, so that way we can yell. But Brendan, I mean, I think we're gonna start bringing it to a close. Do you have any final questions or anything?
Yeah, not too much. I think the last one that I have is, with baseball being like America's pastime, right? Generation to generation, we're passing down, gloves from dad to sons. Kids are looking forward to T-ball, the whole nine. With the way that baseball has, grown since like 2019, since the Yankees and Red Sox have been there, what does it look like for the youth over there in the UK? Are they excited to try to get into like T-ball? Is there leagues for that? Like, how does that look for like the youth over there? And like, trying to grow it more and more from like the youth perspective.
Yeah, and that's really important, and it's one of MLB Europe's main focus as well. And I played a bit of AA in 2016 and 17 over here, and it's come along even from there in the last eight years. Has come along massively. There's more and more teams popping up, better facilities for everyone popping up, but most importantly, there's also youth academies popping up and youth teams popping up. Great Britain, the national side, are also now running their own clinics and their own training sessions, and now have under 10 tournaments, under 8 tournaments, wiffle ball tournaments. There's a big new indoor complex as well in London, which is massive. It's a full scale field indoors with proper batting cages, pitching machines. They are really trying to get to the grassroots, because that's, end of the day, that's one of the most important things, and they're doing a really good job. And I went to a training session with my local team down here on the South Coast a couple of times in the preseason, just to play again. I can't play, I haven't got the time, but just nice just to play and go to training. And there was a couple of 12-year-olds there who were just, wow, it's so much potential. And I was talking to them and their parents who were also playing, and they were saying that they're up in London, and the main national field in Farnham isn't too far from here. And again, there's all sorts going on for kids. It's now coming into schools as well, which is really important. Wiffle ball, especially. They're really, there's a lot of coaching schemes going on as well, trying to get coaches qualified, which is also really important. It's going in a really good direction. I'd give it, because our dream would be to have, a homegrown British player playing over there in the majors, playing for the British team. The Phils do have Gabriel Rincones, who's Scottish born. Well, he's not Scottish born, but he lived in Scotland for 10 years. He was brought up in Scotland. So it would be awesome if he made it to the majors, and we could, because he's eligible to play for Great Britain. He has played for Great Britain, so it'd be great to have a GB player representing the Phillies. But that's the aim. Even from 10 years from now going forward, it'd be great to have some British players like the Dutch have had, like the Italians have had, and the Germans have had, playing in the major leagues, and they're doing a really good job. And I'm really, really optimistic that within 10 years that we do have kids of today playing in the majors over there and representing Great Britain on the big MLB stage in 10 years time.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. Because especially with the way this sport is, people either love this sport or absolutely hate it. It could be the most boring thing in the world, right? But hearing that kids are growing up over there, trying to play, trying to learn, trying to get to the show, that's great to hear. It's just,
absolutely. And you say it's boring, but cricket's huge over here, and I suppose that's the similarity that people put over here is cricket and baseball. And at youth level for cricket, it's huge, and kids just love playing sport. It's huge as it is over there. It's huge over here. When I was a kid growing up, you played every sport going, and now they're bringing baseball into that as well. And not only that, but it's it's so complex. And the good thing about baseball is it's you v the guy in front of you, like cricket is. It's that personal challenge. You're part of a team, but you're the one who can make a difference. You can be the hero, stood at the plate, and it's good that, and the standard is getting really good as well. So I'm quite optimistic that we're going to see having the baseball here as well, having kids going to watch. There's a lot of kids, and MLB have given schools a lot of free tickets to go to London Series as well, which is great. Getting kids to see it in the flesh, and everything around the game as well. The mascot race they have, the food, the drink, the seventh inning stretch, single thing that's the ball game. Everything like that as well really helps captivates kids' minds, and keeps them interacted and interested in what's going on as well as the game. So MLB do a great job of that as well.
Oh, man, I love it. And then I just want to say thank you so much for hopping on. I know how busy
the
last couple of weeks have been, how busy the next couple of weeks are going to be. I wish you nothing but fun, nothing but wins, nothing but good weather over there. But yeah, thank you so much, man. I'm going to pass it back over to Eric before we start closing things down. But I just want to say thank you again, man.
Awesome. Not a problem at all. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you hopping on. For those of you that don't know UK Phillies, he is a big, popularity on Twitter. So go ahead and follow him. Your handle's at UK Phillies, right?
Yeah, UK Phillies across the board. Yeah.
So his handle's at UK Phillies. Go ahead and drop a follow. But that's all we have for you. And again, we appreciate you hopping on. London Series coming soon in about, 13 days now? 12 days?
2 weeks today.
2 weeks today.
Yeah, 2 weeks today.
Yeah, so we're all looking forward to it. Again, hoping the Phillies get the sweep, like you said, because that'd be something.
We need it. We need this.
But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Dave, for hopping on. And that's what we have for you guys this afternoon. So before we hop off, Phillies do play the Rockies tonight. It's a late West Coast game. It is at 9:10. Brendan and I will be on later tonight, probably another midnight late show like we did last night. Bryce Harper's coming back tonight. Hopefully he won't get ejected in the first inning. So we'll see what happens with that. But thanks, guys. 302 Birds.